Okay, so I'm going to recap this past week. Friday, so tomorrow's Friday also. So last Friday, I don't even know what that day was. Last Friday, Haley and he came and picked me up, and then we went to somewhere, I don't know, to pick up, Gova just tooted. Stinky butt. You such a stinky butt. Yes, you are. You such a stinky butt. Yes, you are. Anyway, we had to go pick up, we went to a farm, to pick up some stuff. But I can't go in there because you have to have a certain license or something. I was at least going to be able to be on the property, but not in the facility. So I didn't really actually see what it looked like, but he talked about how the girl there was very attractive. She had a fat ass or something. He's always about that. And, but he also spoke about how you don't intertwine business with pleasure, because then they could be avoiding you because you try to holler at them and they're not interested, or that you piss them off or whatever, and it just messes up business. So he said he just will never cross that line. I'm like, that's a good idea. So yeah, you're not supposed to shit where you eat. So we were hurrying. He told me about a place that I can get a green or a medical marijuana card without a doctor's note. But my doctor actually wrote me a note. But I'll pick it up on Monday, which is the 16th of February. So whatever today is. Today's Thursday. Anyway, so we had to hurry. We got back to the warehouse, and I had to pack up a box real fast, and he had to seal some of the product that we had just brought in, so then we can box it up and be able to get it out in time. Except Next Day Air closes at 3:30, and then another one is at 5. But he was like, hopefully it's a day that they were running late, because we were running late, which wasn't our fault, or wasn't my fault anyway. He had to go get money and then go back and get it and all this stuff. Anyway, then we had an hour drive back to the facility. So anyway, we were packing all this stuff, and I realized that I was moving a lot faster. And I realized that I was squatting down with my pelvic floor being seized like it has been. I haven't been able to squat down or move very fast, or my body will lock up. So that was a big deal. I was really proud of my body. It was short-lived, it was only like a spurt of like 30 minutes, and then the day was done. And then before we were going to leave, I was going to go to the bathroom. Well, somebody didn't lock the door. So I opened the door, and there was a man standing there peeing. So I see his ass, whatever. I shut the door real fast. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so you think this guy's peeing, right? So he shouldn't be that long. So I was waiting. It's cold, and I had to pee, and I'm like, it's like, what the fuck? Did he fall in or something? I was like, screw this. So I just went back to the car. And I was like, I ain't waiting in the cold. And he said, well, just stop by the convenience store. I'm like, okay, cool. So on the way out of town, we stopped by a convenience store, and I was getting out of the car, and he was like, you don't have to hurry. And I kind of looked at him, kind of confused. Like, I wasn't hurrying. That's the thing. I wasn't hurrying or intentionally hurrying. And I kind of looked at him. I said, well, this is just my normal pace. And he's like, oh, okay. So it meant a lot. And then he convinced me to spend the weekend, not with him, but do something on the weekend. Usually I just come home and sit by myself and then go to church on Sunday. But he said, you need to get out of your bubble. I'm like, okay. So Friday, did I spend the night on Friday? I think we came back. Yeah, we came back and got Kovo. And then we went to his house and we watched a movie. I don't remember what movie we watched. Anywho. And then the next day, he was gonna bring me back home and then come back in the evening and come pick me up because he bought tickets to go to a comedy show. He said that he goes to Helium Comedy Club every other weekend. He doesn't go every weekend because that's just a little too much, I guess. But every other weekend he goes to the comedy club and he really likes it. And he said that he bought tickets and that we're going. Like, okay. Well, we drove all the way to Newburgh and I got my hair cut. So it's still got its length. It's not so full though. That's the thing. I had her thin it. So it's really light. But it still sticks out. But it's really light now. But it still has the length. So part of me thinks she thinned it maybe a little too much. But you can't really tell. She's really fine and soft. Anyway, I don't feel like I have a mop on my head anymore. And all flipping out and stuff. So it's not... I told her that I want to grow it out to my bra line. It's how long I've ever had my hair. And I like that. So, it's a growing process. When Haley, he dropped me off. And then he went to my house. And he said, let me know when you get done. And I was done like 10 minutes later. He's like, you're done already? I'm like, yeah. So when I got in the car, he was like, you didn't cut the front. So I wasn't planning on cutting the front. No. So that's how your hair, when you grow out your hair, or at least white people hair, the growing out phase is ugly. But I actually did buy some bobby pins because I used to twist my hair and then pin it back. I did. So I think I'm going to start doing something with my hair in the meantime. Anyway, so we just decided to go back. Like, he wasn't going to go back and forth, back and forth. I said, that's a lot of wasted gas. He said, well, I guess you can just come back with me. And I said, well, there really was no point of coming all the way to Newburgh then, because there's great clips everywhere. Anyway, so we went back to his house, and I went to Domino's. We went to Domino's, got some pizza and some wings, got back to his house, ate a little bit, and then he picked out a movie called Loving Adultly. It is a very suspenseful movie. It'll keep you on your edge of your seat. And we were supposed to go into the comedy club at 7:30. Well, we got kind of caught up in the movie, and when a commercial came on, I'd be like, okay, what time you want to leave? He said, well, one more time. So we were 30 minutes late getting to the comedy club because he didn't really want to cut the movie off, and the commercial didn't come on for a little while, and he still needed to take a shower. Anyway, so we got to the comedy club, and he still decided to pay to go in. I think he said he already paid, though. That's the thing. He paid when we got there, because he told me I bought the tickets already. So I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but even though we were 30 minutes late, he still wanted to go to the club at that time, because there was another one taking place at 10, because apparently there's an hour break, and he didn't realize that, I don't think. 7:30 to 9. Anyways, we still had about an hour left. So we got there, and I couldn't tell if the person was on stage. It looked like a young boy. It did. And this person kept locking eyes with me. Of course, I was right where they talk, if you look straight, I was right there. So, of course, make contact with somebody. Well, it turns out this person was a transgender. It was a female originally, and she took testosterone and different things. But she talked about, she, I don't know, they talked about how the transition of what they went through. So it really wasn't comedy. It was more, let me tell you my story. But this person locked eyes with me, like intently. And a little part of me made me feel a little awkward. But I praised her courage, and I didn't let it make me feel awkward. So Haley was ready to leave, though, because he said that was the first one he's ever left early. But he said she should have mixed it up, like, yeah, talk a little bit about your transgenderness, but it was supposed to be comedy, and it wasn't comedy. It was just what she was going through and what to expect and different things like that. But it was enlightening that she asked the crowd if they do TikTok more or Reddit. Reddit more. I never heard of the second one, but everybody did Reddit. And that's a social media thing. And that was kind of intriguing. Especially because I'm going to do Phoenix Sovereignty. See, Phoenix Sovereignty. Anyway, so we left early. We went back to the house and we finished Loving Adultly. And then he picked out another movie called Companion. Well, Companion is about a robot that is actually in tune with a person that is the romantic partner. And you can control the robot's eye color, intelligence, aggression, everything. Everything about them you can control on this little tablet. Well, anyway, you gotta just watch the movie. But he said that he would like a robot. Haley wants a robot. That's why he wants a young girl. Because young girls are easy to train. They haven't found their voice yet. They're very easy to lead. So he basically wants to form a girl into his image type thing. Or what he wants out of a female. But older girls that have found their voice, grown women that have found their voice, are stubborn. They have values. They have boundaries. They don't abide by anybody else's rules but their own. Type thing. And he don't like that. So anyway, at the end, he said that if I was a robot, he would turn down my intelligence. I said, my what? He said, your intelligence. I would turn down your intelligence. I felt it as a compliment. I took it as a very, very big compliment. Especially because my ex always said that I was stupid. And that he knew a lot more than me. Blah, blah, blah. Which he did when it came to the streets. I didn't have street smarts. I didn't grow up in the streets. I wasn't ghetto. Wasn't thuggish. Wasn't any of that. So, of course, you're more educated in streets than I am. But book smarts, not so much. In life, now that I've learned a lot. When you go through struggles, it teaches you a lot. It's a bitch to go through, but it does. It teaches you a lot. Diamonds are formed under pressure. And you only grow if you encounter struggles. Anywho. So, that was the weekend. And then he got me back in time for church. And then I talked to Samantha and Chris after church. More Samantha this time. I told her, I gave her a hug. I said, I've never really asked how you're doing. And she said, oh, that's so sweet. And then, I think in church they talked about how you can't find God unless you find people or something along those lines. And I told her that I did not believe that you can have love from God even though if you don't have love for people or something, because nobody was around. So I found God, but people weren't around. But according to pastor or whatever, they go hand in hand. Well, not for me. It was just me and Kovo in here. And then the Lord. Anyway, so that was Sunday. And I felt good, right? Well, Monday I woke up and I was just hot. I felt hot. I don't know. I just had this heat about me. And then I had my pelvic floor specialist physical therapy Monday morning. So they picked me up. I think it was at 8:30. When I got there, I was hot. I just didn't feel very good. I told her I had this buzzing of like anxiety underneath my skin. That's what it felt like. And so she just stepped me through some breathing. It seems like we do a lot more of a somatic therapy now. Instead of body work therapy, like exercising actual muscles, we are working on relaxation. And she presses on my pubic bone, basically, and down by my sitting bones, my ischial and your pubic bone. And she was pressing on the pubic bone part, and it's very tender. And she said those are your pelvic floor muscles, which makes sense because my pubic bone always feels like it's being smashed in a vice, whatever. It's like so tight. And it's like a different form of cramping. It's very uncomfortable and painful. Anyway, so I was trying to breathe, and I just could not kick this humming of anxiety underneath my skin. And then my stomach just didn't feel right. She had me even when she was pushing on my pubic bone. Of course, I'm laying down and I prop my legs open like a butterfly, because that's how you stretch your pelvic floor muscles. And then she had me lay down on like 3 stacks of pillows, or three pillows stacked, and had me do some breathing exercises that way. And then we got up and we were walking down the hall, and she just wanted to walk like loosey-goosey, just be free. And I only could do that if I shut my eyes. So I was trying to hold on to her so I don't run into anything. And she said, try to do it with your eyes open. And I just couldn't. I couldn't get myself to relax. And then we went over to the stairs. And so we did stairs just one step at a time, and intentionally, like breathing and stuff. And then my bowels started feeling funny at the very beginning, but it was toward the end. I said, I asked her if we were almost over, if we could make our way to the bathroom or something. And she said that, yeah, we're actually done. She was going to walk me to the door. And she said that's a good thing, because that means your parasympathetic nervous system is kicking in, which is your rest and digest. It's when you're relaxed, not your fight or flight, not your autonomic nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system. So I was like, okay. Well, when I got home, I started having diarrhea. I didn't seem to eat a lot, though, apparently, or drink a lot, because I didn't have a lot come out of me. But then I didn't feel good, and then I got back into the mindset that food makes me sick. And it was really hard to eat, because I can't force myself to eat. Like other people, you're just hungry, you eat. No, I have to do mindful eating, which when I eat, it looks like I'm high. I even told Charlotte that one time, because she was complaining that, not complaining, but it was like Christmas dinner or something. I don't know. They had breakfast. They had waffles and stuff. But she said that she wishes she had more room in her stomach or something. And I said, well, if you do mindful eating, you actually can eat more. And I said, people say that I look high when I eat. And I actually ate 2 plates. Twice as much as everybody else. So I wasn't lying. I try to, when I do eat, get myself to eat, I try to eat a big amount, so I don't waste a moment. Anyways, so I didn't, Monday I had Lexi and Luna here. They're both pits. Luna is 10 months, I think. They're both so soft, and very well-mannered. Luna's still mellow and just chill. Lexi was more anxious. Lexi was 9. Her owner, Gordon, said that she started whining not too long ago. And he asked me if I knew how to stop dogs from whining. And I said, I have no idea. Jaden used to whine all the time, drove me insane. But I have no idea. But I did not feel good on Monday. So the dogs at least were well behaved enough that I was able to sleep a little bit, and they laid with me. Lexi tried to lay behind me, which pushed up against my sacrum, my coccyx stuff, and it hurt. So that wasn't very pleasant. So I had tried to get her to move, but she's a big dog. They're pits, they're a big dog, or heavy at least compared to Kovu. With Kovu, I can just kind of nudge him and he'll get up. But I'm losing my light. There we go. So anyway, Gordon was supposed to get his a root canal done. But apparently when he went there, it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be, so he didn't have to actually have one done. But he did have the dogs chill here for a little bit longer just to get used to my place and give him his time because he did pay for daycare. Daycare can be all day. But he did come by because Lexi, I think it's Lexi or Luna, I don't know. I wasn't in there when it happened. Pooped on my rug. I purposely never got carpet in my house because I board animals. Well, when Rob, the guy that did tattoos, he gave me a rug. Well, it's white. It's beautiful. It's white and has like crisscross gray X's in it. Well, one of them pooped on it. It had grass and it was really runny, like it was an accident type thing. So, anyway, Gordon went and got me some Woolite. Apparently, it removes pet stains, so I still need to do that. I just haven't felt up to using my arms, scrubbing and stuff yet. It's been a long week, rough, laid back, but it's been rough. So Monday, then Gordon came back and picked up Lexi and Luna, and he's gonna bring them back on February 21st to do boarding because a girl that he used to talk to but still is in contact with, friends with benefits, I don't know. He's one that opens up. I guess I'm a type of person that if you feel comfortable, you open up, and he was one of them. He talked a long time. But she's gonna come see him on February 21st and asked if he could actually extend it to Sunday also, because February 21st is Saturday. And I said, yeah, just let me know if you want to extend it another day. Be fine. More money in my pocket. But I get only half of what I would get paid working a day with Haley. Of course, I don't work weekends with Haley. But anyway, I do have to keep that in mind. Like when I watched Lexi and Luna on Monday, I didn't know I was not going to feel good on Monday because I felt perfectly fine over the weekend. So it just was weird. I got paid $70 because I get paid $35 an hour. $35 an hour. I used to. I get $35 for daycare per dog. So then I had 2 dogs. So it's $70. But with Haley, I get paid $140 a day. So, but when I board animals, I get payment of emotional support. So I see that as a win in itself. But I also did not get to enjoy their company because I did not feel good. Kova was the most aggressive one out of all of them. When it comes to his toys, it reminds me of Jaden. When I first got Kovu, he was 4 months old. He was very timid. And Jaden was aggressive. He sounded so mean, but he wanted to play. He still wanted to play. And Kovu eventually got used to him. So now he sounds like Jaden. Jaden put some beast in Kovu. Yep. But I'm really glad that I started the business, my pet boarding business, when Kovu was a baby. Because he's not like other dogs. He's not territorial. A lot of dogs are territorial about their spot, where they live. That's their home. And no other dog should be there. That's why a lot of them, when you do dog walking, if you do multiple dogs, you need to have the dog wait outside of the property line from the other dog, because he has every right to attack him because he feels like you're invading my space. Well, Kovu's not like that. Kovu welcomes everybody, but if you have his toy and he wants to play with it, he'll act like he'll bite you, but he won't. He sounds aggressive though. And they both were, him and Lexi, the 9-year-old, were both fighting over, not fighting, but kind of over Jaden's new Congo red toy that he got for Christmas from Tim and Jody. So I had to put it up. They were getting a little too rowdy. And I didn't feel good. So anyway, Then Tuesday came. I don't know if I really ate much on Monday. I don't remember. I don't think so. Tuesday, I really didn't feel good. I canceled my chiropractor appointment. And I called Haley and I told him I did not feel good. Because I didn't tell him about Monday because I was watching Lexi and Luna, so it really didn't matter. But on Tuesday, I called him. I said, I do not feel good. And I finally got myself to eat some eggs, like at 7 p.m. And I think I made some fried chicken. I found out you can make fried chicken in the air fryer. But I have breasts instead of legs right now. So I just cut them into strips and made chicken strips. But I just ran out of my Chick-fil-A sauce that I always dip my chicken in. It was so good. So good. JC introduced it to me. I got this whole list of groceries that I need to get. Like there's 17 items on there that I counted. But I got food stamps now, so that's good. Anyway, so Tuesday, I didn't feel good. I finally got some food in me. And then Wednesday, I was supposed to have my marijuana medical card telehealth appointment with the doctor. But you were supposed to complete the paperwork 48 hours in advance because they have to get your documents from your primary for that appointment. And I was not feeling good or anything, and I wasn't able to get it in time. So on Tuesday, I called and rescheduled it for next Wednesday. So it'll be next Wednesday. I was planning on going back to work on Wednesday, but Haley said that he needed to go pick up some product, which is 4 hours away. So it's a round trip, 8 hours. And then we'll pick up on Thursday, which is today. So on Wednesday, I had my occupational therapy appointment, my second one, for my hands. And we colored a little bit. I didn't really intensely color either. I maybe just did a couple lines, it seemed like. But my wrist kept hurting, and I kept having to pop my knuckles and just move my fingers. And anyway, so I colored for her. She said probably 30 minutes, but it wasn't. I only did a little outline. I think it's over there. But I didn't really color like, Anyway, and she gave me some of these foam things to put around pencils or whatever, which gives you a wider grip so I don't have to hold them so tight. And she said that these fingers bother me the most. And she said these fingers are mostly used for gripping. And since if you don't use them very much, and then when you do use them, they're very sore, which is like your muscles. If you work out and you're not used to working out, you will be sore, which is true. But this is like a different type of sore. This is like in your bones and your nerves and your tendons. Yeah. Anyways, so Wednesday. This week has kind of just flown by. I haven't been very productive at all. I've been watching Empire. I finally watched the whole 6 seasons. I was talking to ChatGPT and I was asking if I was just wasting my time and why am I glued to this TV show? And he said that it's because it's the music. It's the music in there that helps regulate my nervous system. And that's why I'm drawn to it. Which makes sense. Haley had asked me what movies I like to watch because everything he picked out I didn't like. He likes horror movies. I do not. Horror movies never have plots. They're just stupid, pointless movies. They're about just slaughtering shit. And then he likes gangster movies, like mobster movies. He likes stupid white movies. He asked me, what do you have against white people? They annoy me. That's why. They annoy me. I like music. I like music and dance movies and sports and cars like Fast and Furious and motorcycles, and action and suspense, thrillers, those type of things. So this morning was Thursday today, and I woke up and I was so stiff and sore, like the backs of my arms going into my wrists were so tight, like the nerves, and then in my knuckle, especially my hands, my wrists, and then my whole lower body. And I don't know why my lower body was bothering me so much, because I haven't even gone on my walks yet. My OT suggested that I put habits on my phone and only do like 2 or 3 habits. And one of them is supposed to do like coloring for 10 minutes. Start walking 1 block and then document how far you walk, and then maybe a little bit the next week or whatever. Do that. And then write like maybe 1 sentence, which I don't think I'm gonna be able to do, because I'll ponder about a perfect sentence then. Otherwise, I just write. But I just can't do that right now. But it was fascinating how sore I was the next day after coloring just that little bit. And I really didn't color much. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, I didn't do anything. And I don't know why my lower body hurt so bad. I did use my rose, and I was able to elongate my hips. So maybe I activated something. I need to charge it, by the way. I got a different rose, and it was like 2.0 type rose, but I don't like it. It's way too strong. And I can't return it because, you put it on your private, so they don't want you to return it, of course. So I'll probably give it to Ashley, because she's the one that told me about it to begin with. But I don't use it. It's just too much for me. It doesn't have much suction to it. The whole point is the suction, not the vibration. That makes me think of Mike Johnson. I met him February 10th, 2025. So a year ago, a couple days ago. Yeah, he's on my mind a lot. He's one guy that always supported me, no matter how crazy my ideas were. He was the only one that knew that I was going to quit my job and take my leap of faith. He's the only one, and he supported me. And every little thing that I came up with, he supported me. And he was very God-fearing and he had a good heart. He's just in a very bad place right now, which I am determined to help him get out of. He just don't know that. And I haven't written. He wrote me a letter. First time. I think I got it like a month ago. But I haven't really been able to use my hands. And he only can receive handwritten letters and pictures. I just realized. I went back into our contacts, because I kept a lot of our messages. And it talked about, what he liked and what kind of clothes he wears and what his favorite shoes are and what he likes on his pizza and favorite color. Then he had a clip on there about how he wants me to guide his head, sucking on my clit and all this stuff. And I was like, it was kind of turned me on. Yeah, it kind of did. But anyway, I still need to quit this. I see Rob every Sunday. And Rob Wilcox has to speak with a vibration. So it's in my face that is a potential thing that could happen. I could lose my voice. I could have mucus build up in my lungs that I can't get out because I have this little blockage. Because you'll have a thing that you can't breathe. You'll be able to talk. It bypasses. And this could cause that. And I need to stop that. But this is also my therapeutic breathing technique. I crave more diaphragmatic breathing. I do. This is just something I have a habit of grabbing at. But it doesn't give me the satisfaction as it does when I just fill my diaphragm up with air. And then if you force that down into your pelvis, I didn't think about that until my PT told me. But I have a feeling that this is all a ripple effect from actually putting myself out there this past weekend. This is the first time I've ever hung out with anybody on the weekend without them trying to be sexual with me. Because me and Haley, we're not like that. And we don't shit where we eat type thing either. So, and he knows I don't want him. He wanted to be with me. And I think he kind of took it to heart. And it hurt his feelings a little bit. But he got over it. And now we're good friends. So that's good. But he also is very shallow still. And he still has that mindset that he wants a young teen. He would like a girl that's his age, around his age. So he's 34, 33, 34. I'm 38. And has no kids. Because at that age, they are in the mindset of getting a home. An 18, 19-year-old is still in the mindset of partying. I'm like, yeah, that's how you were. We all were that way. So you have to take one or the other. So, yeah. But it's really unique to find an older lady with no kids. So I guess I'm just one of a kind. But I also am stubborn, he says. And you have to have a lot of patience. That just means you can't control me. Anyway. So I think maybe me being exposed to a different activity, going to the comedy club, watching movies, just not being on guard because I think somebody's trying to be sexually advanced on me. None of that. And I drank some wine. He asked me when's the last time I drank? Because this past week was the first time. I drank in over 7-8 years. Yeah. And wine can make you aroused. I told him that. I can see how drinking can make you aroused. And wine makes me belch a lot. He did give me a drink at the comedy club. I got water. You are at a 2-drink limit when you go to the comedy club. So water was considered 1. And then I told the bartender or lady that I don't really drink. So she just put a little bit of rum, maybe Pear Bay or I don't know, something not very strong, and pineapple juice because I like pineapple juice. But I was only able to drink half of it, and then Haley had to drink the rest. But he thought it just tastes like juice. His first drink was like hot, spicy. He likes hot things. So I think that this diarrhea, and then of course that was ripple effect of not wanting to eat, and then my OT, and then maybe the masturbation of my legs hurting. I don't know. But I think it maybe was just all ripple effect because my PT told me that my parasympathetic nervous system was kicking in. And I don't know if she meant she knew the extent of me having diarrhea because I didn't even know. I just didn't know. I just knew I didn't feel good. And she had taken my temperature when I got there because I told her I just felt hot. She said it was 98.1 or something like that. But I don't feel like I was really there during that session. Like I was there, but I wasn't coherent and present like I normally was. So I could tell I was going through something. So I think it's a good sign. It wasn't very pleasant this week. And I've realized that I needed a lot of rest this week. My body was so tired. And I realized when I do eat, not routinely, when I eat finally, my body feels extra tired. And I was trying to explain it to my mentor, Kathy, and she said it makes sense. Kind of makes sense. I said, I think my body tries to savor the moment of me eating, and it just, like, knocks me out. Like, I get excessively tired. It is crazy. And I was glad that Haley wasn't able to complete his pickup on Wednesday. That's why I didn't go to work today. Because when he got there, they weren't ready yet, so he had to get a hotel. And And so when I woke up and I called him around 9, because he always says to be ready by 9, but I think he never leaves his house until 9. And it takes him like 50 minutes to get here. So I called him because I wasn't ready yet. And I was just like, hey, how you doing? And he told me that he hadn't been back yet. And I didn't know that. So I went back to sleep and I slept until 1 o'clock. I was knocked out. My body was so sore. I got up and I put Polar pain cooling cream on and I went back to sleep. But yeah, I hurt so bad. My wrists, my hands, and my arms felt so stiff. It was like cords of my nerves again, my tendons and my fingers, and I still hurt. I really do. And I haven't done anything today. I haven't even colored. But I've been putting this off because this whole week I haven't gone anywhere. So I didn't put clothes on. I always wear my pajamas, which is a nightgown, which is not appropriate for videos if I plan on showing people. So that's why this is kind of spaced out. But I think my body is one step at a time, but I think I'm finally on the right track. I'm going to start speech therapy soon. Hopefully help with my cognition since my short-term memory was shot, but I haven't tried to learn anything new except for what I've learned from life experience. I was talking to ChatGPT and was reflecting on what I should tell people to begin with, because Sensei Spec told me that I should start with my story. Well, from my point of view, my story is actually what happened. And then when I was talking to ChatGPT, it told me to tell my story in a first-person narrative type thing. But it's more, to me, it sounded educational. I said, what you are saying is my story sounds like teaching. And Sensei Spec told me not to teach. But it said that I'm not necessarily teaching. I am in a way. I'm not saying you should do this, you should do that. That's teaching in their eyes. But if I say this is what happened and this is what I experienced, that's telling my story. So I'm able to tell the aftermath of my story, of what physically happened to me and what, like, over these 3 mental breakdowns and things, each one was different, but not necessarily the cause of why I went through that shit. So I think that's going to be my first step. I don't know if I told you when I was talking to Chuck. Oh, when Chuck picked me up from my occupational therapy appointment, he opened the door for me because he was walking around. And I said, hey, Chuck. And he opened my door. And I was like, oh. I said, I haven't had my door opened in a long time. And I gave him a hug. And I said, you know, you're my only driver that I hug. He said, really? Like, yeah. So you have a good energy about you. So I gave him a hug when he got back. And he said, you give the best hugs. I said, you do too. When I give hugs, it's more of a hold and a energy sharing moment. I share my energy when I give hugs, depending on who you are. But yeah. I said, you give the best hugs. But I was explaining to him a while back, I don't know if I told you this part, but that oscillation, rapid shaking of my limbs, because I think I already told you this, but my chiropractor explained to me that nerves run directly along the bones. And when I do oscillation, just rotating the bone itself, just concentrating on the bone and letting everything else hang loose, your fat, your tendons, everything else hang loose, muscles, it's like it gives your nerves room to breathe. It does sting. It does have a sharp sting to it, so it's kind of like a bittersweet, but it makes me feel better. So, I mean, it doesn't make it go away, but it's kind of a relief. Kind of like, you know, you let your nerves breathe. That's what it feels like. But your nerves then sting. So anyway. I'm just trying to capture everything that I've been going through. Oh, at church, I was talking about how I feel like my story is caught in my throat. Because they had a testimony on the overhead. And this lady, she just, girl, about my age probably, I don't know. She talked about how she lost a family member and a friend and around the same time, and that she was going through depression and suicidal thoughts and different things, but she still read her Bible and she still prayed. And when I went up there to talk to Samantha, I said, you know, my story would not be appropriate in church. And I was talking to ChatGPT about it, and it asked me if I would feel more exposed or more relieved if I had told it to a group like people in church. And I said no, I'd feel more exposed, and I would feel judged, because I grew up in a Catholic church and in a small town that were all racist, and everybody was kind to your face, but everybody was passive aggressive, and they always had their underlining thoughts about me, put it that way. So that's exactly how I would feel if people actually knew my story. People would be kind to your face, but then underneath, you don't know exactly what they're thinking about you, which I really don't care, but I really don't need the tension or drama or anything negative towards me in that manner. I have a court date for March 10th. It talked about, get in touch with your attorney. Aaron Stone is no longer my attorney. I don't have an attorney anymore. I asked Kathy to come with me. I'll probably talk to ChatGPT and get some type of idea of what I'm supposed to talk about. Because I can just talk, And it's basically about my extension of my community service. And Kathy will be there to advocate for me. And I told her that we just need to be on the same page, that all of this has been this way this whole year, which it's gone in stages. But yeah. Haley should be here tomorrow. I cut up some more potatoes to prep it for a potato soup. I need to get some more sour cream though, because that one expired in December. So I threw it away. And I'm out of a lot of things. But I think I got majority of what I need to make the rest of the potato soup. But when I leave, I'm just going to put it on the low slow cooker, crock pot, and just let it cook all day while I'm away. I can't think of anything else. Anyway, one step at a time. I need to color a little bit. I told my OT that it's hard for me, because she gave me like 3 pages worth of things I can do with my hands. And I said it's really hard for me to indulge in activities with my hands because I know I'm going to be in pain later. And she said I need to do it in a form that I'm not aware that I'm using my hands. Like watch TV or listen to music and just color, kind of get lost. Don't really concentrate on what you're doing with your hands. So, a fun fact about Kovu. Kovu likes vegetables. He likes carrots. He likes cucumbers. He likes lettuce. He likes potatoes, raw potatoes. He likes berries. He likes cherries. He likes figs. Kovu's a unique dog. He just don't like olives. It's kind of strange. Oh, I forgot. On Monday, I finally asked my mom about this spot on my toe. It's been there for a couple months, and it kind of comes and goes, and it started itching like crazy. I don't know what the hell to do with it. So I showed my mom, and my mom's a nurse, and she said it looks like a fungal infection. And it seems like it's starting to affect my nail, which is true. And then on Monday, when I took a shower Monday night, I realized there was like, there's my skin. My skin is like broken down and red and raw underneath this armpit. But it just formed all of a sudden. But the eczema on my hand has finally cleared up. So I was asking Kathy if she thinks all of this is related. Because ChatGPT said that stress can come out in numerous different ways. Like, I never had eczema before. I never had fungal infections on my feet before. Except started in 2024. And then again, into 2025, began 2026. And then the spot on my arm, I have no idea. So I have an appointment scheduled for Monday to look into these skin conditions. And then I can pick up the letter that Dr. Sanders wrote for my medical marijuana card. Even though now it turns out I don't need a letter from him, I just need to submit a release form, medical release form. So it can just be given to the other doctor, which cost me $130 for my appointment, but it was $50 cheaper than usual because I have OHP and food stamps. And then I get a discount on something else too. And then if you pay $35, then they'll process it all for me. So probably in the end, it's probably going to be about $200. Maybe less. Anyways, my OT talked about maybe seeing a nutritionist because I told her I have difficulty eating, but I don't think that I need that. I understand what foods you should eat, what food you should not eat, blah, blah, blah. Nutrition. I understand nutrition. My issue is when you go through starvation and then you realize that food makes you sick. It makes you feel sick. You still keep that in your head. And then especially when you don't feel good, you correlate food as making you feel worse, which actually in reality is not true. Even Kathy said food is actually the most ideal medicine. But you have to get it through your brain that this is good for you, even though it seems like it's going to make you feel sick. But if you continue to not eat, then you continue to not feel good and actually get worse. But when you do eat and your body is willing to accept the food, then it's like orgasmic. That's why people say I look like I'm high when I eat. I do mindful eating. I hurt so bad. My shoulder blades, my arms, wrists, my fingers, my hands. Right now my pelvis isn't screaming, but of course I smothered myself down in that Polar pain cooling cream. Anyways, it's already 53 minutes. I didn't plan on talking this long, but I didn't do it all week. But I just wanted to recap what I've been experiencing. Like I said, I'm supposed to tell my story. But I was not expecting the whole diarrhea thing and the fact that it could be related to my downshift in my nervous system. And I gotta use my hands and start walking again if I'm ever gonna get back to where I want to be, where I used to be. Anywho, till next time.